Move over, Menendez brothers, there's a new murderous sibling duo in town. Amazon Prime's The Better Sister is a mystery crime drama that asks the question, what if I could hook up with my wife and her sister? It also doesn't hurt that it's Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks. In this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the murder of Adam McIntosh, how it all went down, and the fate of our characters. So fix yourself a drink and make sure to stab that like and subscribe button, because here we go. The Better Sister tells the story of Chloe Taylor and Nikki McIntosh, two sisters who couldn't be more different. Chloe has the perfect life, a successful multi-million-dollar business, two luxury dream homes, and a beautiful family. Her sister Nikki, however, hasn't had it so easy. She's a divorced, recovering drug addict where everything seems to go wrong. She even compares herself to her sister, saying,
I am the part of my sister that she denies.
These sisters seem to have nothing in common, except for the fact they married the same man.
Awkward!
Meet Adam McIntosh, a successful lawyer and current husband to Chloe. In episode 1, Chloe comes home to find that he's been brutally murdered. But who would want Adam dead? What follows is a case filled with revenge, deception, and murder involving the FBI, corrupt millionaires, and this guy who's shirtless in every other scene. To fully understand Adam's murder, we have to go back to Chloe and Nikki's childhood. Chloe was a bit too young to remember the worst of their father's alcoholic behavior, which might partially explain why she wasn't as messed up as her sister. As young as 10 years old, he'd pour whiskey in her hot chocolate, but that's not the worst of it. In episode 4, Nikki reveals to her sister that one night their father came home so drunk that he got in bed with her and sexually assaulted her, a secret she's kept hidden all these years. Fast forward and Nikki meets Adam and the two fall in love, eventually getting married and having a son, Ethan. But Nikki's drug and alcohol abuse start to jeopardize both their marriage and the safety of their son. Adam confides in Nikki's sister Chloe, which sparks the beginning of their romantic relationship. They also discuss the need for Ethan to be separated from his mother. One day, Adam comes home to a drunk Nikki having left their 2-year-old unattended in the pool. Instead of asking for a divorce, which he'll later tell Chloe would only have led them to have joint custody and put Ethan in more danger, he takes drastic measures by crushing up some Xanax and Ambien, drugging his wife, and staging a fake drowning of their son. This results in Nikki losing custody of her child and not being allowed to have any communication with him at all. Adam and Chloe get married shortly thereafter and raise Ethan as their own. This sets the backdrop for the murder that's to come. 5 years ago, at the funeral of their father, Nikki slipped her son a secret flip phone so the two could communicate. Everything was going fine until Ethan revealed that his idyllic life wasn't so idyllic. In fact, Adam was getting physical with Chloe, slamming her into a wall and injuring her head. Years of resentment had built up in Adam. It was Chloe who pushed him to switch the job he loved working as a DA to a more lucrative job in the private sector, a job we'll soon find out made Adam do horrible things. So Ethan informs Nikki what Adam's been doing, and Nikki, being the protective older sister, comes to save the day, even though these two haven't talked for years. Nikki shows up at Adam and Chloe's summer home where she refuses to leave until she can talk to her sister. A physical altercation ensues in which Nikki finds herself fighting for her life, ultimately stabbing Adam in the neck. But in an eerie twist, we'll find out he isn't dead. This happens when Ethan arrives home later that evening. He believes his dad is dead and that his stepmom Chloe is the murderer. After all, he heard her say this just a while ago.
If you touch me again, I will f***ing kill you.
Remember, Nikki never told Ethan she was coming, so he has no idea it was her. So he decides to stage the crime scene to make it look like a robbery gone wrong in order to lead the detectives away from Chloe. This ends up biting him in the ass as soon he becomes the #1 suspect in his father's murder. As Ethan's about to leave the scene, he notices his father is still alive, but instead of calling 911, he leaves him there to die. Close to 5 episodes are spent on Ethan as the main suspect in Adam's death, and it looks like he'll be convicted of murder until Chloe drops an absolute bombshell on the witness stand. She discloses Adam's abuse and offers a competing theory on who may have killed her husband, one which will prove crucial in exonerating Ethan. Unbeknownst to everyone, Chloe was having an affair with Adam's co-worker, Jake Rodriguez. He and Adam compete competed against each other for clients at their law firm Braddock & Braddock, with Adam having won the latest multi-million-dollar contract, making Jake look bad. Jake was also aware of how abusive Adam was to Chloe, a woman he wished he had over Adam. So now we have this other suspect who is jealous of Adam from both a work and romance perspective, with a motive to protect the woman he loved. This completely muddies the water for the jury, and Ethan is ultimately found not guilty. This doesn't stop Detective Nancy Gadry from continuing her search for the killer. Her investigation leads her to interview Adam's mother Debbie, where she finds out Nikki told Debbie about Adam being stabbed to death a day before that information was released to the public. Combine this with the DNA she picked up from Nikki's cigarette butt, and all she needs now is a match from the crime scene to lock in Nikki as the murderer. But something crazy happens. Nikki, fearing the detective was onto her, leaks a story about how the detective and the police force covered up her beating an innocent black man in a case of mistaken identity. This forces the detective's commanding officer to suspend her and all the cases she's been working on. Completely flabbergasted, Nancy says they can't let the killer get away, but to her shock, another suspect has just been apprehended by her partner, Detective Bowen. This is Bill Braddock, Adam's former boss and president of Braddock & Braddock. He tasked Adam with securing a shady deal with a company called Gentry. Gentry engages in human trafficking to smuggle workers to construction projects at slave wages and with little to no protection. Adam's job would be to cover this all up in a smokescreen of shell corporations and legal red tape to make sure everything looks like it was on the up and up, so that the company could profit off this exploitation. But behind Braddock's back, Adam went to the FBI but was killed before he could hand over any incriminating evidence. Now here is where Chloe's genius shines, and she's able to simultaneously save her sister and frame Braddock for the murder of her husband. Underneath a hidden compartment in her husband's safe, she finds documents proving Braddock and Gentry's crimes. She takes them to Braddock, stating she's tired of living in fear. She wants to give them to him as a peace offering so they can put this all behind them. What Braddock doesn't know is that Chloe has done two things. She sent copies of these documents to Detective Bowen and planted strands of her husband's hair that she found in the closet along with the murder weapon in Braddock's desk. So when Detective Bowen arrives with a search warrant, they find the original copies of these incriminating files, Adam's DNA, and the murder weapon. And because Adam was talking to the FBI, it could be easily presumed that Braddock had Adam killed because he could take down the entire company. Braddock is arrested, but we don't know if he gets put away. Now we're also left wondering what happened to Jake Rodriguez. The last we see him, he's dead on the beach. But who killed him? There are several interesting theories. The first is suicide. It's presumed that his death happened before Braddock is arrested, which might have led Jake to believe he's going to get pinned for Adam's murder. Plus, he pleaded to Chloe to help him, the woman he loves more than anything, and she basically brushes him off. But why, if you're going to kill yourself, put on this wetsuit? The second theory is murder, and this could have been done by Braddock or the Gentry group who saw him getting too close with the FBI. I personally don't think Agent Olivero of the FBI or Nikki and Chloe had anything to do with it, but that's just me. Finally, it could have been a plain old accident, but that seems kind of a letdown. Our story ends with our two sisters finally together after years of estrangement. Two women who never seemed to have any control in their lives took that control to write their own story. These women who spent most of their lives protecting themselves ultimately put their own lives on the lines to protect each other. It's poetic having the final scene on the beach, a place they would spend much of their childhood, with the childhood versions of themselves in front of them. They also mention the Big Dipper, a constellation associated with navigation and finding one's way, as it points to the North Star. It's a metaphor for the sisters finding their way together after being lost for so long. But what did you think of the better sister? I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
Daddy loves you very much.